Yeah, welcome. Welcome to the first module of the PMdistilled PMP preparatory course. I'm Abrachan. I'll be the instructor. I'll be your instructor throughout this course. Um, Whatever we are discussing during the course will be revolving around the project management body of knowledge, which is also known as PMBOK. The PMI, the Project Management Institute USA, they come out with a newer version of this project management body of knowledge once in every 4 years, and the current version is the fourth edition. So all our discussions will be revolving around this project management body of knowledge fourth edition. Now, upon completion of this module 1, you will be familiar with the basic definitions of project management, like what is a project, what is a sub-project, what is an operation, and what is a program, what is strategic planning, what is project portfolio management, stakeholder, who is a stakeholder, and enterprise environmental factors and their impact on project management, and organizational process assets, and how, as a project manager, we can leverage on these things. What is a project? Sometimes people say things like life is a project and all. Personally, I disagree because there are certain criteria to qualify something as a project, and every project has a start date and an end date, and it is temporary in nature. So you start with a project, it has a start date, and upon the completion date, that is the end date, the team is wound up. Projects are performed by people and they deliver unique products and services as outputs, and projects are constrained by limited resources of time, cost, and scope, which is also known as the triple constraints of a project. We say that a project is successful if it is completed within the agreed upon time of time, cost, and scope. Projects are progressively elaborated. That means when I start a project, we have very less information about the project, and very often we start with a statement of work, and then while estimating the project, we come out with a work breakdown structure and we define the scope. A lot of interviews happen, and we gain more and more insight into the project. So we say that when we start a project, we have a very less information about the project, and as we get into the project further and further, we gain more and more insight into the project. So this process we call as the progressive elaboration. What is a sub-project? For effective management of a very large project, we can break them up into smaller projects and then manage independently. We call it as sub-projects. A classical example is Delhi Metro, which was broken down into phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 and managed separately. What is an operation? Something that goes on indefinitely. Uh, Primarily, any manufacturing operation will come under an operation. Operations are ongoing in nature. Definitely there is a start date, but there are no end dates. Are performed by people, are constrained by limited resources, and always produces standard outputs. Projects produces unique outputs, whereas operations produces standard outputs. An example would be setting up a factory to manufacture cars is a project, whereas manufacturing cars is an operation. Shift after shift, we churn out the standard output, a particular model of a car. A program is a collection of interrelated projects, which when done together gives you more value than doing them one after the other. In my country, very often what happens is the road authorities will come under and then do an excellent road, and within weeks' time, maybe the telecom department will come and dig up the whole place. This is the sheer demonstration of lack of program management. Projects by themselves are pretty good, but then because of lack of coordination between uh, different project teams, the program becomes a failure. So a program is not just a large project. A program is a collection of interrelated projects, which when done together gives you more value than doing them one after the other. Then comes strategic planning. Uh, See, every organization has a vision for growth, and this vision is always supported by a strategy, which comprises of maybe multiple different programs, projects, and sub-projects, and other work, which when collectively done helps the organization to achieve their strategic vision. What is a portfolio? It's typically a project portfolio is a collection of programs and other work that are grouped together to facilitate effective management of that work to meet strategic business objectives. So I'm running a business called Project Management Research Institute, and if you want to increase our revenues, either we should innovate new products or we should sell our current products very aggressively in new markets, or we sell the current products very aggressively to existing known markets. So each of these calls for additional programs and projects and investment. So the whole process of picking up the right projects which are in true alignment to the organizational strategy for growth and then monitoring them for effectiveness, we call it as project portfolio management. So typically a project portfolio management can be compartmentalized into three sections. The first compartment is picking up the right projects which are in true alignment to the organizational strategy for growth. Then the second compartment is the effective execution of these projects, and the third compartment is monitoring the returns from these completed projects and seeing whether it is in alignment, it is doing justification for the justification criteria we used while picking up these projects. Then these days it is very important to understand the enterprise environmental factors before getting into a project, because we have enough cases of projects which got cancelled halfway through because it was impacting the environment in a negative way, or because of political unrest in a at the site. There are enough cases where the project had to be cancelled and moved to another place, which incurred a lot of loss to the sponsor. So it is very critical to understand the enterprise environmental factors of projects like organizational culture, structure, procedures, government and industry standards, infrastructure, existing human resources. So these are just examples. The list can be much larger, but then we should be aware of these things before getting into a new project, into a new location. Otherwise we can end up in trouble. Then while getting into a project, we should be knowing the plans we can leverage on the intellectual property of the key stakeholders, maybe your own organization, the suppliers, the customers, I don't know. So it could be anything. Any of the relevant stakeholders intellectual property, if they allow, we can leverage, like the project plan of past similar projects, the templates, the tools, the policies, the procedures, the guidelines, the quality management systems, lessons learned from past projects, and organizational metrics like the organizational capability baselines. So these things will help us to come out with a plan and even to come out with the feasibility study of a new project in a particular new environment. So we become smarter as a project manager, and we become more proactive as a project manager if we can leverage these things. I request you to go through the relevant parts of the reference material which we have given to you if you are attending our courses at the PMRI campus, and then take the associated test so that you can earn the credits for this particular module. Thank you very much.